guys again. I do not know what happened. Connection lost. I think that's the first time that's ever happened with Restream. So I have no idea. Dave was talking about Kolchak and
Yeah, I don't know if we should mention the K word anymore.
yeah, just say the K word, whatever. I don't know.
But basically, my story was listening to Mike Davis's program was the first introduction that I had about Kolchak. I missed it in the 70s and the 80s and all of that. Had no idea who even Darren McGavin was, except for the father on A Christmas Story.
Right, right, yeah.
And took about 4 or 5 years. Loved Kolchak, and it took about 5 years for Dino, after my insistence that he watch it, started watching it, and we've done trivia nights, and it's been fantastic.
You a
Yeah,
big fan
yeah.
of the TV series too?
I'm sorry?
You a big fan of the TV series too?
I am. I like the very first episode, which we're actually going to watch on our Patreon coming up on Friday.
Yeah.
And I think that's The Ripper.
Yep.
And the one that I like, the fourth one or the fifth one, that's kind of a sequel to the original Night Stalker. I may have to run and go get my DVD case. And then there is one, You Are, You Will, You Shall Be.
Yeah.
Is really,
and they are, they will be, something like that. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite episodes. And the other, I mean, I like them all, but my other real favorite is Horror in the Heights.
Okay.
You know, so where there's a monster that can make itself look like a friend of yours or something like that, and that's how it attracts you. So
yeah, everybody's starting to name their favorite episodes. The alien episode, the vampire episode. Yep.
yeah, the alien episode is the one that Dave mentioned. They have been, they are, they will be. Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that's the one with Uncle Leo is in one of them.
From Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Uncle Leo from Seinfeld fame. Yeah, I caught him. He was in an episode of All in the Family as well.
Oh, you're kidding.
It was one of the buddies, Archie from World War II, that came in, and they were going to meet their rich, the guy who made it. He was a millionaire now, but Uncle Leo was in there too. So I'm like, all kinds of Seinfeld references, Mike. So
Yeah, I love Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Oh, terrific.
And listen, I apologize. That's never happened before. I don't know why the connection was lost, but I just put it back up, and we got stream number 2. So it's back to back. How can you not figure that out? So anybody coming back, they'll know.
Yeah. Stuff happens.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we did a stream a couple weeks ago on Sherlock Holmes. And of course, I thought of you because you were a big Sherlock Holmes fan, and there seems to be this correlation with Sherlock Holmes and Lovecraft. Those that love Lovecraft love Sherlock Holmes, and you interviewed like Leslie Klinger, who wrote the annotated, both of them. Do you know? I mean, is there any reason why we generally cross genres like that?
Oh, not that I can think of. It's just, maybe it's just the fact that if you like Sherlock Holmes, you're a geek and a dork, and if you like Lovecraft, you're a geek and a dork.
We'll take that.
Yeah. So
it could be.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun to interview, and he actually helped out on the Downey films. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well, I think, I mean, that's all old school. Anybody who loves like the old stuff, you're
right.
gonna, Lovecraft is,
Kolchak, 70s.
Exactly. But Dave did bring up a point. We were talking because, listen, I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan, but it's got to be Basil Rathbone, Nigel Bruce. He said your favorite is Jeremy Brett.
Yeah, Jeremy Brett from the 80s and
Well,
early 90s.
Yeah, I like an explanation.
In my mind, he's the definitive Sherlock Holmes, and especially Watson. after the first year. I mean, well, both actors that played Watson, but especially the second one,
Okay.
really embodied Watson as he was in the stories. I feel, I love the old ones with Rathbone and so forth, but they sort of made Watson a bumbling kind of guy.
Oh, that's what I love about him, though. I love his bumbling idiocy and
Well,
but
there's
he,
a lot to love about it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just
yeah,
saying, it's not the Watson from the fiction.
no.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
the character himself. Yeah, a lot of people say there's other characters that are more truer to the Sherlock Holmes and the Watson of the books, but man, I guess it's because I'm connected to it for emotional reasons. It was the first ever old time radio show I ever heard, and it was Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce, and I just fell in love with them, and the movies too. And I love, like you said, it may be the downfall of what the true Watson is, but the way he was is what I love about him. So
Yeah.
that you don't even know what he's saying. He's just mumbling, and it's like, I love it. I love it.
Well, nostalgia has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
That was actually my first when I grew up in the '80s, so that was my first introduction to Sherlock Holmes on screen was
Okay.
Jeremy Brett. I had read the stories, and I thought, wow, this guy just really matches up with what I imagine Sherlock Holmes to be. But and then before I started the Lovecraft Ezine, I read. There's been several now that have Sherlock Holmes in a cosmic horror setting or in a Lovecraftian setting. But that first book that I read was called Shadows Over Baker Street. There's some good stories in there. There's some clunkers, but for a while that was the only one. I just loved that anthology. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Kind of fun to imagine, what would Sherlock Holmes do in a Lovecraftian situation.
Right.
So
almost kind of like a Doctor Who type, storyline there a bit.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
So
But I mean, I think maybe you're right. It's all this stuff is this older stuff, Kolchak, old time radio, Sherlock Holmes, Lovecraft. So yeah.
Do you have a favorite I'll let you ask your question, Dave. Do you have a favorite old time radio show, Mike?
I love a lot of them, especially the horror ones. But
okay,
I would say if I had to pick one favorite, it'd be Quiet Please. So
okay,
yeah.
Okay, nice.
I think I owe you $1, Dino.
Okay, why is that?
Just bet on this.
I told him that my guess was the house in Cypress Canyon.
Yes.
Oh, well, if you're going to pick an episode, it would definitely be the house in Cypress Canyon.
Oh, okay.
I thought he meant series.
Oh yeah. No, that's exactly what I meant. So
Yeah.
Quiet Please is a definite horror series, and it's a good one. One. They've adapted some very good stories. So good choice.
Yeah, it's very eerie. There's some weird fiction in there. There's even one or two with some cosmic horror.
Yep.
In there, but it was just a very original show, and the house in Cypress Canyon on suspense. I think a lot of people agree that it's just one of the best ones ever done. So.
Oh yeah. You put that poll up, that probably will be number one on a lot of people's lists.
Yeah.
So you don't owe me $1, Dave. You're good.
Okay. I was about to PayPal you.
No, geez, no, don't do that. Anyway.
So yeah. Okay. It's nice to chat with other people who enjoy old time radio. So.
Yeah, I know you also mentioned in the past you're a big fan of Vincent Price.
Mm-hmm.
And did you like? I know there was The Saint, but there was also The Price of Fear, and that's one of the shows that really kind of sets the Halloween mood for me.
Yeah, I love The Price of Fear. As a matter of fact, I've got, I don't know where it's at, somewhere around here, but I've got the book, The Price of Fear. They put out an anthology with some of the stories in the anthology. And the introduction is really notable for Price. He wrote the introduction, and he said that the audio theater, is his favorite type of fiction, his favorite type of story to tell. He phrased it better than that.
Yeah.
But, because you have to use your imagination and a lot of other reasons he gave, but I just thought it was intriguing to read, because here's a man who's been in so many films, but yet audio drama is his favorite type of story to tell, type of fiction.
And I think he may equal the amount of films to the amount of old time radio shows or audio productions that he did back in the day.
Yeah.
He was on Plenty of Suspense and many other shows. So yeah.
And then that in the 70s, and I think also in the 90s, but I'm not sure, was The Price of Fear. So yeah, he was on a lot of them.
Yep.
I got a chance to talk to his daughter Victoria once, and she was in, I want to say, New Mexico, and she's kind of an artist person dealing with ceramics and has a gallery and everything. And one of the things I told her was that she was so lucky, because if she ever wanted to hear her father's voice again, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
You can't not hear it or see him, and that's such a special gift, I thought.
Yeah, that's true. I thought the same thing about Joe Pulver. He was on my show for years, and now we've got all of these YouTube episodes and audio podcast episodes where you can listen to him talking with us. And you can't say that about a lot of people unless they are actors or something similar, politician maybe, right? So your dad give a speech on economics. Yeah. So
yeah, you would think one day, even for your, like, if you got kids or anything like that, like what we're doing right now, like my kids, hopefully all of this stays around forever, and they will eventually, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, that's my dad or my grandfather, who was doing crazy YouTube videos, and let's hope it stays archived.
I've pulled up a couple of episodes when I've really missed Joe and watched one or two of them. I know his wife has, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. He chewed me out too.
He did.
Yeah. I mean, just in jest, I when I asked him to sign my book, I told him, hey, I'm sorry, could I interrupt you, because he was having a cigarette, and he's all, don't you ever, think that you're interrupting an author. It is our privilege to sign your book. And he went on your podcast the week after the film festival and brought up that that these people came up to him and, said that, hey, they're sorry for interrupting. And he goes, no, there's no interrupting an author. He goes, you are the people who are paying for our craft that we're producing, since writing is such a solitary endeavor. And
yeah, that sounds just like Joe. He said that more than once, but I'll tell you, being in a convention situation, that was just Joe loved the community, the horror community, the weird fiction and Lovecraftian community, and I mean, I know that's why he was on my show every week, because it was, like I say, it was like a miniature convention, very miniature, but still, so he loved it. So he loved every aspect of it, talking to the fans, to the readers, to other writers, other artists, podcasters, whatever. So he's definitely missed.
Yeah.
Speaking of Vincent, go ahead.
Oh, there it is. Shadows over Baker Street.
My copy of Shadows over Baker Street.
Nice.
It is a top 10 book. So
yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Definitely read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
And I will also share one of my books, which we can lead into maybe our next topic, is this one, which is The Daughter of Time. by
Oh, time
Josephine Kay.
travel.
Yeah, on time travel. You're a big time travel person.
Yeah, I am. The Daughter of Time. What's I haven't heard of that one. I'm gonna have to pick that up. What's it about?
Um,
I know time travel, right?
it, it is about time travel, going back to the Middle Ages, kind of like a little Sir Lancelot type of thing. But I know you're also a big fan, as we are, of Somewhere in Time.
Oh
The
yeah,
film. And,
yeah.
we actually have brought it up. We've done some Art Bell podcasts, and that is his favorite film.
Yep.
Art
Yep.
Bells, really?
Yeah.
Martels,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I mean, it hits everything that he kind of loved about time travel. So, not to mention Jane Seymour, really stuck with him, and
Exactly.
I see why.
You
You
can't go
know,
wrong with her.
no,
Yeah, there's something interesting. So if you guys really like time travel like I do, here's something interesting about that film and the book. I don't know if you read the book or not.
I haven't.
I read it when I was a kid, and the dates are different. They adjusted the dates in the movie, but it's a very good book. And so you remember at the beginning of the movie when the old woman comes up to Christopher Reeves, excuse me, and gives him the watch,
Mm-hmm.
and she says, "Come back to me."
Right.
Okay, so when Christopher Reeve travels back in time and meets her, one of the things that he does when he's with her is he gives her the watch. Or if that might not be correct, I need to rewatch the film. I think he accidentally leaves it with her when he has to come back to the future. So here's my question to you: where'd the watch come from?
oh my God, my brain's like freaking out here a
Yeah.
little.
I
It's
was
called
told
it's called a Jin. It's something that just it has no beginning, has no end. It keeps going in that circle.
Yeah, it's like the word we all come from, the universe, right? What
Yeah.
happened before. Well, I don't even like to say the Big Bang because I almost kind of don't believe in it, or at least the term or the definition of what they call the Big Bang. I just don't believe that's exactly what happened. But anyways, go ahead.
Well, here's a book you might like, guys. Time Travel in Einstein's Universe. It
Okay.
is a physics book, physics light, but the author has a lot of fun with time travel and how feasible it is. And he actually talks about Somewhere in Time and um, other books and films. And he mentions the watch in this too. It's really interesting reading if you like time travel.
Nice.
By
Nice.
J. Richard Gott, Gott. So if anyone reads that, let me know what you think. Lovecraft Ezine at gmail.com. I haven't met anyone else who's read it yet. So, but yeah, time travel. What's one of your favorite books, movies, whatever?
I just like the idea about it. I love the Art Bell episodes where he has
Yeah.
time travelers on there. And so many of them are just, full of bunk. But
Okay.
there is that occasional one where it's just like, this guy knows some things, Um,
Yeah.
it's for me, my belief in time travel is I don't think we can do it, but we're going to be able to see the past.
Hmm.
When we look at, for instance, like the sun, we see the sun as it was 7 minutes ago.
Right.
Well, if we shot a telescope out into space, the same distance from the sun, pointing at the Earth, we could see the Earth 7 minutes ago, and further out yet.
It's what we do all the time. Anytime we're looking at the stars, if you just walk out there
Yep.
and just look up, you're actually seeing those stars as the way they looked, however many years ago. The closest star to us, besides the sun, is 4.5 light years away,
Mhm.
Alpha Centauri. So the closest star, we're looking at it as it looked 4.5 years from now. Now it doesn't look that different,
Right.
but if one goes supernova, etc., then there's a change. And to your point, Dave, if we had a powerful enough telescope where we could see detailed things that are happening, hypothetically, we'd be
Right.
definitely looking at the past.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh,
And that's the way that we can't travel to the past, but time travel to the future is definitely possible. You know, the twin paradox, you know, if your twin stays on Earth and you go to near light speeds in a spaceship to Alpha Centauri and come back, you know, as speed expands, as speed increases, time expands or it slows down. So you're going to stay 30 years old or however you were, or you might come back at age 32 or whatnot, whatever. And your twin will be back on Earth, maybe 80 years old when you get back. So
yeah.
you've traveled to the future.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Dave. I almost think that time travel in the way that we see it, going back in time and stuff like that, is not on this plane of existence that we live on right now. You know, in the energy form that we are as human beings, as species, whatever. I think the time travel part, which I do believe is real, I think it comes when we go to that next step. You know what I mean? That wherever that is, you know, when we pass on, when we die, I think that's when time is irrelevant. I think that's when you can go backwards, forwards, see people, or what you think are the actual people, or is it just their energy or memories from the past or the future? I think that's when that happens because, I mean, we would see people right now. Listen, I know there's hokey pictures out there of people, you know, that we see on the internet. Yeah, that's a cell phone in his hand, you know, but is it really? I don't think so. So I'm kind of with you, Dave. I'm not sure. Is it possible? I'm giving it 5%. You know, there could be a chance it's possible,
I'm
but
more of a believer of alternate universes or
yeah,
multiple universes.
yep,
And,
yep.
you know, what if you turned left instead of right or whatever, and in some other plane there's something else happening?
Pete and I talk about that a lot. Yeah.
One of the when you had mentioned time travel books, actually, there's the last Sherlock Holmes story. I believe it's this one is on time travel, where the reason Sherlock Holmes is so smart and Moriarty is his archenemy is they're both time travelers.
Ooh,
And they jump, they jump from universe to universe, and that's why they're on the top of their game, is that they're not of this world.
Dave, that's awesome. I'm gonna have to pick this up. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, combining Sherlock Holmes and time travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, hypothetically, you know what you were saying. After you die, then you're sort of a four-dimensional type of entity, then, aren't you? Like the way I think of it is, if you watch a movie, the characters in the movie, they've got to travel forward in time just like we do. But as the person watching the movie, you can watch the end, you can rewind back to the middle, and it's all the same to you.
Yeah.
So that's an easy way to think of it.
Yeah, good analogy. Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Hello to everybody who came into the chat: Sam Barker, Ian Sharp, Fluff Chick, all you guys, Edward Stewart. Again, people will figure it out. They'll come back to the stream or the channel and go, "Oh, there was a part 2. It wasn't just a 14-minute interview."
when you put these, how does that work? Do you put these together later?
You know what? That would mean editing it, making the old ones that we've done here now private, putting it together, then uploading a whole new stream that people are going, this ain't live. I don't know.
It's only Mike Davis. We don't need to do that.
Come on.
I'm kidding. I love talking about time travel. I don't get to do it often. One of my favorite books, Dave, you probably heard me mention it on my show, is There Will Be Time by Paul Anderson.
Yes, I have heard it. I have not read it.
Well, it's one of my favorites. I've got a huge, you can't see it, but time travel shelf behind me and more in my Kindle. And There Will Be Time by Paul Anderson is absolutely in my top 5. And
Nice.
Then another one of my favorites is by David Gerald, the guy who wrote the Tribbles episode on Star Trek, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Gerrold, if I remember correctly. And that's called The Man Who Folded Himself. And that is absolutely, I mean, he goes into, this guy gets this time machine from his uncle, quote unquote. Of course, you probably know who the uncle is in the time travel story. And the time machine is in a form of a belt that he puts on. Well, he goes to the nth degree to what could happen in a time travel situation where he meets himself multiple times, and there's a card game that's always playing on this certain date in his house. It's all multiple versions of him coming and going and playing cards. It's just insane.
You know, the problem with watching your podcast is that my to be read list just keeps growing and growing and growing. The watch list as well, although I'm much more of a reader. I'm a huge book collector, and I have a special Amazon wish list just from watching your program.
Thanks, man. That's the number one complaint I get, quote unquote complaint. But I'm glad to hear it. That's what I'm here for, to build up people's TBR lists.
Well, I mean, you kind of a lot of times you don't know about things until people bring it to your attention.
Well, yeah, like the Sherlock Holmes time travel one. I'd never heard of it until Dave mentioned it.
Yeah, one of the cool things I did as a kid, and not as a kid, I was like 18, 19, and this is what really like attracted me to Joe Pulver. Was we kind of had the same story where Friday night we would get off of work, we would get paid, and we'd go to the used bookshop. And while a new bookshop may sell books for $18, $20, we could get a used book for $5 or $10 and read it. And so when I got paid every other week, I started picking up these books from the Covina bookshop, and I built a huge Sherlock Holmes collection out of it. And it took me about 2 weeks to read through a book. And I absolutely, loved doing that. I couldn't wait for my future paychecks because I already figured out, what I wanted in advance.
Nice. Phil Jones says, got a lot of books on my shelf to read because of Mike. Yeah, Phil Jones, a long time on this channel. And evidently the same channels. Crossing over, like Dave said.
Exactly.
Very cool, Phil.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. So,
nice.
Dave will pay for your books from now on.
or if he finds a good one at those, what do you go to? The libraries where you almost get them for nothing.
Yeah. The Friends of the Library bookstore.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
What about movies and TV shows, Dave? Time travel. Or do you have a favorite? I mean, Somewhere in Time is obviously up there.
I'm just drawing a blank because all I'm thinking about is the horrible H.G. Wells time travel film.
Oh,
the old one?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that one.
Oh, I love that one. Oh, it's fantastic.
Well, that's a big nostalgia thing too, depending on the person.
Right. Yeah.
I watched it when I was a little kid.
Yep.
My dad rented that and another movie on the VCR. I was in time travel then. I was like 10 years old. I was insanely excited. And he said, well, you can watch it, this weekend or whatever. And so I didn't want to wait. So I got up really early before school and I watched the whole thing that morning, like at 5 a.m. And he was pissed. But that's another story.
Yeah, I love everything about that movie. But again, it could be a nostalgic thing because it's something I watched when I was young. I mean, if you look at it now, even the creature. Well, I think the creatures still look great, but I don't know.
They did a sort of remake, sort of not.
Yeah.
In 2002. Yeah, there's some parts to it I really like, but ultimately I'd say it was a fail.
Yeah, I agree with you.
One thing
I'm much like Dave though too. I'm more connected when you talk time travel. It's the Art Bell because there's literally 50 shows where he talked about it and guests and
Wow.
all that. So movies, it's harder for me to lock on to some, because a lot of the newer ones, the past 20 years, Mike, I'm not interested in movies the past 20 years. Really. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
the way I am. I don't know. I'm just too old.
Well, Dave, I can take a picture of my time travel bookshelf for you and email it to you.
Oh, that'd be
there you go.
I would love that. One of the films, though, I did just came into mind because if I remember, Vincent Price is in it, is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
What?
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen that.
I was a big Captain Nemo fan,
Peter Lorre.
And it really pissed me off when I read because I had read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea finally, and it was a great book, and there's a sequel to it, and it's called like The Mysterious Island, and I'm like, oh wow, I can't wait to get part 2 of Captain Nemo, and he's only in about 20 pages, and it's like from page 580 to 600, and he dies at the end. And I'm like, this sucks. And I threw the book. I was so pissed.
Well, I won't read it because you just spoiled the ending, but that's
it's not the end. It's just
I'm joking.
Again, only been out for 120 years.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, we've got the Rollick rule on my show. It's 5 years on a movie or book.
There you go.
Pete came up with that. So.
Now,
it's like if it's been out for over 5 years, too bad. We're going to spoil it,
Yes, I agree with you. There you go.
Do you prefer to read your books on an electronic device like a Kindle, or do you like the physical copies?
Actually, my answer is I like both, and because they both have their negatives and positives. I mean, I love having books around me. I've got quite a few bookshelves around me of print books. But the positive to Kindle is I can get a book right away if I'm really excited about it. I can search the book for a certain word or phrase. I love to highlight whether I'm reading fiction or nonfiction, but I just don't do that with a print book. But it's easy to do with Kindle, and you can see all of your notes and highlights in one place. So I'm not a person who says I like one more than the other. I just think if you're reading a book, however you're reading it, you're still reading. And it's sort of like I don't know, an analogy might be, are you listening to music on an LP or through Spotify? Ultimately, it probably doesn't matter as long as you're listening to music, and to me, ultimately, it doesn't matter as long as you're reading. So, same with audiobooks. I love audiobooks as well.
Yeah, me too.
If you're using your imagination, then you're reading a book, whether someone's speaking it to you or your eyes are on the printed page.
I think that's almost one of the things that I really love about audiobooks, because the imagination of the mind even comes into play when somebody's narrating a book, and I just enjoy that, closing the eyes and taking off. But I also do love, there is something about holding a book, especially an older book, in your hands. The smell, just holding it puts you back in a different era. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But I totally get what you're saying about, Kindle, and if you want a book quickly. So, but if I do prefer having that old book in my hand and turning the pages, and it's just fantastic.
A friend and I were talking about the other thing too, is that as you get older, some of our eyes aren't as good as they used to be for reading. And with the Kindle, you don't have to go out and buy a large print edition of a book, right? You used to see those in bookstores and libraries. You could just turn the text size up.
Or get some cheaters like I got,
And I'll tell you, it happens all of a sudden. Because, I was going fine until I hit like 50. And it's like one day I opened the book and I'm like, this is blurry.
Yeah.
I just don't hold with anyone who says that, you know, it's got to be one way or the other, or they
Oh no,
argue vehemently about one or the other. I just think
yeah,
that both of them have their pluses and minuses.
right, yeah.
You know?
No, I agree with you. Yeah,
It's funny. I've never. I wouldn't. If you gave me like a Kindle today, I would have no idea how to even use it. I've never read an audiobook. I hear some, or I'm sorry, read a digital book.
okay, there you go.
I
Yeah,
hear it's like you can, highlight certain things and look up words immediately, which is, really advantageous. But I do love the physicality of the books, and as you mentioned, there's a certain smell to them. There's a certain texture. I can tell you, like this one here was especially important because where I picked it up, you could see I paid $8 for it. Um, I bought it from a person who is no longer around,
yeah,
and it brings back really good memories of shopping at that particular store.
yeah. There's a certain memory or history that comes with certain books, like where you got it from, who you got it from. So, and just the history behind that book, you can almost feel it sometimes. I know I'm
Yeah, it wouldn't be the same sitting here in my office or my living room if I didn't have bookshelves packed to
right.
overflowing of books around me, because there's just a different feeling to it. It's like walking into a library. But and you mentioned who gave you the book or who you bought it off of, or I've got a lot of books from friends like Joe Pulver and W.H. Pugmire, friends who are no longer with us, and friends who are with us, that they've signed the book or they wrote me a note in the book or whatnot. My latest one is this one, Paul Tremblay,
Okay.
The Beast You Are, and he sent me the book and wrote me a nice little note in there. You don't get that with Kindle.
No.
So, like I said, negatives and
Positives, yeah.
Yeah.
Also takes me back to a Jerry Seinfeld reference there, Dave. I think you know where George wanted his books back after he broke up with his girlfriend, and Jerry's like, well, what do you need the books for? He goes,
Oh,
they're my
yeah.
books. They're my books. He goes,
You've read it. What are you going to do with it now?
Yeah. Did you read them? Yeah. Then you don't need the books. What's with this obsession with people needing books on their shelves?
Well,
I haven't seen that
for
episode.
Rereading for one thing,
Right.
Jerry.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
I'll do that.
Yeah.
But I listen, always a reference to Seinfeld. Anyways, go ahead.
Well, I'm upset because that's the Seinfeld I haven't seen.
Well,
No.
there's another one where George is in a bookstore. Remember that one? And he takes the book in the bathroom with him.
Yes.
And somehow the book is coded to where he tries to put it back on the shelf and not buy it, and the bookseller's like, "Sir, this book has been in the bathroom. You have to buy this." It's hilarious.
That episode kind of made me mad because I'm like going, listen, how do they even? Well, they got it on camera and all that, but yeah, he took it in the bathroom and put it back.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, I have the only ones I've seen that have books is obviously the Bookman.
Yeah. Mr. Bookman.
Returning the books of the Tropic of Cancer.
Yeah.
And that's the only episode. So I'm looking forward to those 2 new episodes.
Yeah, definitely.
I see one of your viewers said that they'll have to try a Paul Tremblay book. Yeah, Paul's really great, and he's novels. My favorite of Paul's is Disappearance at Devil's Rock. Try that one. That's a really wonderful book.
Nice. Sounds good. Title's good. I like it.
And he was just on your show last Sunday, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's a good friend. One of those guys who I really admire because he's found success, but yet he's still just as nice of a guy as he was before that. So there's not, that there's something really to be said for that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's nice when you get somebody who's, like you said, made it. Like I was able to interview one of my favorite horror icons, Pinhead, Doug Bradley.
Oh,
So
wow. Nice.
yeah, we sat here and just basically shot the shit for like an hour and a half, and it
Yeah.
was just unbelievable. I mean, it was just great, you know. So real down to earth guy. So pretty cool.
And
Yeah.
didn't he do some audio recording of some stories or books?
Yeah, he actually does. He's got a YouTube channel, Doug Bradley. I believe it's just Doug Bradley. And yeah, he'll sit down there and read the classics, you know, just film himself reading the classics with his voice. You know, it's kind of a cool thing. So yeah.
And the episode with Paul from 10 or 11 days ago, I had John Langan and Laird Barron on there too, and they're very popular as well. So that's a really fun episode.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I definitely have to jump on your channel and start listening to some of your streams because sounds like I definitely will enjoy them too. So,
Yeah,
you know.
thanks.
And reminding everybody again, you know, check out the links below. I'm popping his link there to all of his a link to all of his links. There you go. Anyways,
It's a link tree
link tree. Yeah, yeah.
page. Yeah.
But I like how it's all laid out where everything is just right there. You can click on anything you really want and it'll get you to there. So
Oh, thanks.
well done.
If you go to the YouTube page, the first had to pull this up so I tell this in the right order. The first playlist is the podcast, Lovecraft Ezine podcast.
Okay.
And then the next playlist, there's clips. And then I've got 5 so far of horror and weird fiction stories that are read. Like there's a Laird Barron story that's narrated by someone, and Gemma Files,
Nice.
so on and so forth. And then I've got You'll Like This, a horror old time radio playlist.
Nice. There you go.
Just some of my favorites.
Okay.
Over the years.
Cool.
So yeah.
And one of the things I've enjoyed is the your annual Halloween show.
Oh yeah.
And was there any particular reason why Halloween stood out to you to do that type of an episode?
Just because I've just always loved Halloween so much. I don't know how much you guys want me to bore you, but if you have Autumn Cthulhu, the anthology I edited, and yeah, I'm going to do an Autumn Cthulhu too one of these days. I just got to get to it. But in the introduction, I talk about my first introduction to Halloween, especially up north, and just that whole atmosphere and falling leaves and the chill in the air and watching kids trick-or-treating. And I've just always been a huge fan of Halloween and of autumn. I mentioned my time travel shelf. I've got a shelf over there that has to do with autumn and Halloween as well. And so I thought, it'd be neat to just have a special episode every year, just a Halloween episode. And it's like a lot of things. It's just, I thought, I'll do this because I think it's cool. And then it's sort of, you realize that people are looking at it as a tradition that you do it every year.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really think that much of it. And then people are telling me, who's going to be on the Halloween episode this year. So it's always Jeff Thomas and Scott Thomas and usually another guest. So.
Well, they have some of the best ghost stories.
They do. Yeah. Yeah, they really do. Those guys are New Englanders, and that's definitely Halloween
Ghost
country
territory. Yeah.
Well, I've been trying to get Dino to tell us about his grandparents.
There's a stream coming up soon. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, real soon.
But Jeffrey and Scott Thomas lived in not one but 2 haunted houses.
Wow.
Yeah.
And had some wonderful ghost stories of Civil War ghosts, of books being tossed out of bookcases at them, of seeing their sister walk by and then a ghostly form of their sister walk by. And I mean, it's just every year I just love listening and hearing their stories.
Well, man.
Yeah, if you're a person who you're like me and you're a Halloween type person, you really owe it to yourself to read Scott Thomas's work. And you might start with Over the Darkening Fields, which is a collection. Got some really cool stories in there. And in fact, one of the stories is called Halloween Tea. So if that tells you anything. And his novel, The Sea of Ash, which I fell in love with, as I said, years ago. And yeah, just check him out.
And there's also, and it may be by Ray Bradbury. In fact, I think it is, where you read a chapter a day.
That's you might be thinking of Night in the Lonesome October, Roger Zelazny.
Roger Zelazny.
But yeah, it's easy to think Bradbury because he's a very Halloween type writer too. I mentioned my shelf. Well, my Bradbury books are on there, So yeah. Yeah, no, I think.
Do you have a favorite? I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, go ahead, please.
Oh no, I was going back to the Halloween episodes, and when you were talking about Halloween and the holiday itself, and everything that goes on. Do you have a favorite film during the Halloween season, or films that you bring out? Like for me, every Halloween leading up, at least that last week up to Halloween, I bring out all the black and white Universal horror movies and just binge watch them. So how about you? Anything like that?
Well, first of all, that's another good reason to watch my Halloween episodes, because Jeff and Scott, they have all these traditions like that they do every Halloween.
Okay.
As far as favorite Halloween movies that I'll bring out, it really depends on my mood that year, but I think that just about every year I'll watch Trick or Treat.
Okay.
It's a more recent movie, 2009. I think.
Sam. Yep.
Yeah, but I see you got Sam Hain right there.
Oh yeah, he's right there.
Yeah, but it's a great movie. That town, that's just the whole town's into Halloween. Like I said, that movie's just drenched in Halloween atmosphere.
Oh yeah.
And as far as any others, I don't know, Salem's Lot, maybe the old one.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But really, I don't have certain ones, except maybe Halloween as well.
Okay.
I thought John Carpenter, I mean, obviously it's a classic. Obviously everybody thinks he did a great job with that film, but for having filmed in California, he did a really good job of making it look like autumn.
Yeah. We have autumn here.
I knew Dave was going to say something. Yeah, it's autumn here. It's 80 degrees. And
it is 80 degrees, but,
same as Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Leaves do fall. They just get a little bit of a chill at night. I get it, Dave.
Well, that's one of the things that's what I'm mainly talking about in my introduction to Autumn Cthulhu, the book, is I grew up in Texas till I was 6. And then we moved to Iowa up north. And I was used to these Halloween autumns in Texas where it's still hot out. And then I go up to Iowa and it's 40 degrees. There's mist in the air, there's just there's fires crackling, people are raking leaves, you name it. It's just a whole different vibe. That's when I fell in love with Halloween.
Yeah.
That's something I'd like to experience, because it is, it's always funny because it could be 80 degrees here on Halloween.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Halloweens was I went to downtown Disney, which is just outside of Disneyland. It's mostly, restaurants and things like that. It was misting, and all the little kids were dressed up, going from business to business, and of course they were giving candy away and everything. And it was just a very cool experience.
Yeah.
But living in California, one of my things that I do is I get to go to these locations. So I live within an hour of the Halloween house, the House and House, the Fog Church, and I hope you guys come out here one day because I'll drive you around to all of them.
Nice.
And, it's such a fun experience to go and look at these movie sets, basically, but they're real active businesses today,
Yeah. Yeah, you have a whole different experience of Halloween for sure than we do.
Yeah.
One of the
I mean,
reviewers mentioned the Changeling movie, by the way, to watch at Halloween.
Nice,
The
Edward
Changeling,
Stewart.
that's a great one.
It is a good one. It is a good one. What's your favorite out of all of the Lovecraftian films over the years? Do you have a favorite?
Well, I've got a list of Lovecraftian films on the website, lovecraftezine.com.
Yep.
Um, and I'm a bit picky about what goes on the list, but I would not say that it's a list of my my favorites or anything like that. The first one on the list, just because it's alphabetical, is Absentia, and that's one of my favorites.
Okay.
That's a Mike Flanagan film before he got big, and it's a
Love
low
Mike
budget.
Flanagan.
Yeah, it's a low budget film. He didn't have the money to put into it like he does today.
Yeah.
But it's a really great film. The low budget actually, I think, helps. I interviewed him after the movie came out, and he said something similar. And I asked him about, I can't really say what scene or I'll spoil it. And he's like, "Yeah, that was a stick. This frightening scene. We did that with a stick." Low budget.
What makes it special?
AM 1200 is a short film, but it's 40 minutes long, so it's longer than most short films, and that's available on YouTube. Actually, people ought to check that out. AM 1200. And I'm just trying to jog my memory as far as any others.
Yeah, Ian Sharp just mentioned The Void.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen that one. Kelly Young told me there's body horror in it, and I'm not real big on body horror.
Well, Kelly Young too.
Yeah, that's true.
You can even sort of
The Empty Man, that's a good cosmic horror film.
Okay.
And of course, Event Horizon.
Little body horror in there, but
yeah.
An excellent film, though. Excellent film.
Same with, there's some body horror in The Midnight Meat Train, but it's such a good film.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on
the New Daughter? Is possibly my favorite.
The New Daughter?
Costner. The New Daughter with Kevin Costner. Yeah.
Okay. Thoughts on the color Out of Space with Nicolas Cage? What did you think of that one?
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh,
yeah.
I think you should see it. It's far out. I mean, I know it's Nicolas Cage, but
I don't know if I'd agree with the director's vision, but I am going to see it.
Okay.
I'm not saying I'm not going to see it. I just haven't got to it yet.
Gotcha. Okay.
What about Scooby-Doo?
Zoinks! Scoob!
I love Scooby-Doo, actually. And I have some great memories of watching Scooby-Doo episodes and movies with my boy when he was younger. So
nice.
Speaking of nostalgia. Yeah, I love Scooby-Doo.
Well, there's a whole lot of Scooby-Doo. I'm sure you're talking about the old classic ones, right?
Yeah, but there are some newer ones the last 20 years that are fun to watch as well.
And I have to admit, I enjoy the Scooby-Doo movies on occasion. Not all of them, but there are a few I really, really like.
Okay. Good.
Especially the one with Phyllis Diller.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, a bit of comedy there. Yeah, gotta love it. How about the Haunted Palace with Vincent Price? Fan of that one?
It's not on my list, but I do like it a lot personally. Yeah. Okay. My list, on the website, I try to keep to,
Lovecraft's vision. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and not just Lovecraft, but cosmic horror films that are taking the vibe seriously. That's why, even though I love Stuart Gordon's movie Dagon, I don't have Reanimator on the list, but I do have Dagon on the list.
Okay. So I got you. Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And no Scrappy Doo. No. We don't talk about Scrappy. No. Yeah, he doesn't need to be. Somehow he needs to be taken out of space and time, and speaking of time travel and all that, and
he needs to be retroactively removed from existence.
Yes, exactly. Why'd they do that? Anyways,
So that came about from some people sitting around a board table going, what would be great, might make us more money if we did this.
Yeah, let's get his cousin to come up, and he's smaller than he is, and funny. Yeah, whatever. You're right. I'm sure. The dumbest decisions usually come from the boardroom, but anyway.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to.
I mean, look at Warner Brothers. How they've stomped all over and micromanaged everything in the DC films.
Yep. That's a whole other show, anyway.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Dave.
We've touched on that on the show as well.
Have you? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Will you go in depth on all of that kind of subject matter? And I'm trying to skirt around the issue, but you know what I'm talking about. You will talk about that on your channel?
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, the things they try to put in the movies, and for the audience or so-called audience. Oh God, I'm not even going to say it.
I mean, like the Flash movie, or
no? I'm just talking about in general the whole woke movement and all that.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm just I think they.
You don't even have to talk about it. If
Warner Brothers just micromanages quite a bit.
Yeah.
And they need to stop.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's a lot of people who don't like the Zack Snyder trilogy, but there's an awful lot of people who do like it. Yeah. I'm one of those that I do like it. The Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, the extended edition.
Right.
And Zack Snyder's Justice League. If they never let Zack Snyder touch a DC film again, at least we've got that trilogy.
Right.
Something I since I was a little kid waiting to see something like that on the screen.
Very cool.
So yeah.
Hey, it's Dave Plouffe. What's going on?
I never knew that's how you pronounced your name until tonight, Dave.
Yeah, it's French. So yeah, I've heard it pronounced all sorts of different names.
Yeah, I bet.
But that's fine. That is the correct way.
Got dark while I was talking to you guys. I had to open the shades here.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And anything else, Dave? I know we're about 15 minutes after 9. So any other topics you wanted to hit? And again, everybody, links are in the description. Please go check out all of his stuff.
Thank you. All right, got to say, I've got my email open on another screen. Thanks to Connie for becoming a patron while we're
very cool.
Doing the show tonight. Really appreciate it, Connie.
There you go, Connie. Yeah. Thank you very much. I know a couple people said they subscribed. So go on, Dave.
Yeah, I was just saying Connie is equivalent to Kimberly Smeltzer.
Oh yeah, been around a long time.
Wonderful person, long time. Yeah.
Not a long time age-wise, a long time fan of the show wise.
Yes.
Well, with time traveling, we all stay young.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so for any time travel fans out there, let me know what some of your favorites are. There will be time, Dave, since you like time travel. It's just it's very kind of wistful and nostalgic, and at the same time, this guy, he realizes from a young age that he can travel through time, not from a machine or anything, but just he's got that ability. And then I won't give you any spoilers except to say, you find out this early in the book, he realizes that if he's got this ability, surely other people throughout history would have this ability too, even if it's only 1 in 5 billion people. And so he thinks, how can I find these people? Maybe they were born 1,000 years ago or 500 years from now, but how can we meet? And that's one of the cool parts of the story as well. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on your list there?
You don't read Kindle, it's on Kindle and print.
Okay. No, I just went over everything on my list, so I'm very pleased.
Okay, cool.
I love your background, Dino.
Oh,
all your
thank you. Yeah.
posters and your little Sam guy and everything.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah. Always like to get that. You know, the colors come from the giallo films, the genre that I love, because you know Dario Argento, I'm sure.
Hmm.
Some of the movies that he's done. Giallo also incorporates lots of vivid colors like Suspiria. And I just like to have a little bit of red over there, a little bit of blue. It just makes it a little bit different. But
Yeah, I like it a lot.
thank you. Thank you. You got anything coming up on your channel big, or is it just family
Um,
as usual and good stuff as always?
well, let's see. What we've got coming up on the show. A second. All right. Well, we just had Paul on, Paul Tremblay.
Okay.
A couple of weeks from now, Nathan Ballingrad, he's got a new book out. Yeah, just, I mean, the usual.
Okay.
Try to intersperse it with some well-knowns and some not so well-knowns, so that, you know, those people who are starting out, or many people don't know their name, that I get the word out about them.
Very
What
cool.
little I can, you know. So
It sounds like definitely. I mean, geez, many years. So you got quite the extensive archive of like authors you've interviewed and people you've interviewed, as well as the Halloween shows and the other
yeah,
things you do, podcasts. So there's tons of stuff on the channel. So yeah.
yeah, I cringe a little bit at some of the early ones where my sound wasn't as good
Oh,
as it should have
geez.
been or whatnot. But you
I
know,
do
I leave
too.
it up and anyway. You
Yeah,
know,
I do too. Listen, the very first videos I ever did on this channel was just, it was literally my iPad streaming the just me and my buddy talking about the movie. So
yeah, I can relate. That's
that's
something
just how it
similar is
was.
what happened to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you wake up one day and you realize that people are following you, and
You gotta
maybe
do a
you
little
better
bit
make
better.
this look halfway nice,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Oh,
and
how
sound
funny.
halfway nice.
Oh yeah, so I've got cringeworthy stuff. Yeah, yeah. But I haven't deleted it because I'm like,
Yeah, same.
that's the beginning. I
Yeah.
mean, PBR Street Gang. Oh my God, what's it been? 2 years? Mike Davis brings out PBR Street Gang. Under the Pyramid by Lovecraft is my fave time travel story, he says.
Yeah, that was actually, I think, a ghost written
Oh,
one
yeah,
from Harry Houdini.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
very cool. Very
My
cool.
favorite Lovecraft story was written by Lovecraft and R.H. Barlow is a story called The Night Ocean, which you probably heard me mention, Dave, but um, it's just this painter. He's been working real hard to get this painting done, and when he's done, he's just exhausted, and so he goes and takes a vacation on this deserted Florida beach. You know, this is like the 20s or 30s,
Mm.
and then some strange things start to happen, and it's one of those stories where if you look at it, you think, well, nothing really happened in the story, but there's all this stuff going on beneath the surface. I'm terrible at describing the story and why it's one of my favorites, but people should check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Do you think that Lovecraft had anything to do or inspiration with David Lynch and how he goes about some of his movies? In particular, Eraserhead. Have you seen Eraserhead?
It's been a long time, and I guess my answer would be that there are a hell of a lot of people influenced by Lovecraft in
Yeah,
small degrees or large degrees,
yeah,
you know. So yeah, it's definitely possible.
yeah. Eraserhead definitely has that kind of dark undertone. Not a lot of dialogue, but there's a bit of sci-fi in there.
Yeah.
But if you know David Lynch, it's a strange kind of thing that he does with his movies. But
Oh yeah. Mulholland
yeah,
Drive.
yep.
There's so many artists, writers, whatever, that are influenced by
Yeah,
Lovecraft. Even people, writers or artists or readers or whatever, that can't stand, say, reading a Lovecraft story, written by Lovecraft, but they love the themes of cosmic horror and so forth, and weird fiction. So
nice.
There's for that matter, there's a hell of a lot of video games influenced by cosmic horror.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So Alan Hughes, one of my patrons, he just did a post for me that I posted last week, I think it was, maybe the week before. 10 Lovecraftian games that you should be playing, and he picks out some of his favorites, and he's working on a more comprehensive list that I'm gonna have up this month as well. So for you gamers out there, check that out.
Nice gamers. Yeah, been a long time since I've seen Eraserhead, says Edward Stewart. Rob Fred says, how about Naked Lunch, sci-fi horror combo movie? I don't know if you've seen Naked Lunch. It's a little bizarre.
A long time too.
Yeah, another bizarre movie. Anyways, any last words, Dave? I look forward to checking out Mike's channel and everything he does. Appreciate you bringing him on here and reaching out to him. And thanks, Mike, for coming on and being a guest and talking to us.
Thank you guys for asking me and for having me on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we something strange happened in the universe at the very beginning, and I don't think it really matters because the chunk of everything we really talked about was the second part of this, which was the longer version. There was only 14 minutes. It was basically the introduction and all that. People will put 2 and 2 together, I think. And great show, great talk, very casual. I like that. Appreciate it, Mike, and best of luck to you with everything, and always here in the future too, if you want to talk or anything like that, or come on again or
Absolutely.
whatever.
Thanks for having me on. And Dave, thank you for suggesting that I come on and for the book recommendations as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Check those out.
Yeah.
So now you're adding to my TBR list.
All right.
TBR, to be read.
Exactly.
Okay, you guys. So with that said, I am going to get ready for the overnight stream tonight, you guys. Good stuff as always, right? What am I going to say? It's bad stuff. It's good stuff.
Who's going to be on tonight?
What's that? Who's going to be on tonight?
What shows are on tonight?
Tonight is going to be a CBS Radio Mystery Theater, cleaned up audio.
I love that show.
Oh yeah. There's a nice theme with the ones I picked out for tonight. Again, cleaned up audio. I don't like doing that for all of them because sometimes I do like the little scratches in the record that's playing. It's kind of an ASMR thing. So sometimes I keep the old shows old, but lately I've been cleaning a lot of them up so they sound a lot better. Because honestly, there's still a lot of shows, old time radio shows, that don't see the light of day because the quality is so bad, So it's not easy cleaning them all up, but some of them you can get to listening level. But anyways, it is CBS Radio Mystery Theater tonight. So with that said, you guys, check out all of his links, and I will see you guys next time. Let me post it again. And peace, everybody.
Art
What's
Bell.
that?
We'll see you Art Bell.
Sunday, yes, me and Dave, we will be on talking, remembering Art Bell again. It will be a single episode show, the 1993 Ghost to Ghost show that Art Bell did, and that should be a lot of fun. I can't wait to start talking about
30 years.
So, oh, yeah. My gosh. 30. Okay, anyways, with that said, 30 years ago, see